Today I'm going to show you how to make a Church's honey biscuit. So let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and get our oven preheated to 450 degrees, and we are going to make some honey biscuits. So the other thing I've done is I went ahead and melted my butter for the top of the biscuits, and I've got it cooling over here off to the side. So we're putting 2 cups of flour in, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and we need 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Okay, and then we're just going to give that a little gentle stir. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work in our shortening. We have a 1/2 cup of vegetable shortening that we're going to put in here. And I'm just going to kind of knock it off there. And these little plunger measuring cups have been awesome for things like this, like peanut butter and shortening and all. It makes it so much easier to get it in and out. And I did go ahead and break down and bought myself a pastry blender. I have been fighting the urge for a while now, but I've decided to go ahead and do it. So what we're gonna do, this will be the first time I'm using it, so sorry if I'm a little awkward. We're just gonna break this shortening up into our flour until it's kind of the consistency of cornmeal. Okay, that definitely makes short work of it. So I do recommend breaking down and maybe going ahead and purchasing one of these. I try to have as few appliances and utensils as possible, but this one really did make short work of it. Okay. Now we're going to add our 2/3 cup of just regular milk. Now again, you can make this recipe vegan because you're using milk and butter, so you could use almond milk or soy milk or any kind of nut milk, and you can use vegan butter. So I'm just going to pour this in here. And then I'm just going to mix it up. And working with biscuits, I try to have it for the most part incorporated pretty well in the bowl. See, I've got a little bit of flour mixture that's not all the way in before I pour it out onto my countertop. Okay, so we're going to take what's in our bowl and put it out on our countertop. And they sell some like pie mats and things that you can use if you don't want to just dump it out on your counter, but you know, I keep my counter clean and makes it easier to do this. Put a little bit of flour on my hands, and then I'm just going to bring all this together. I'll try not to work with it too much because I don't want to make my biscuit dough tough. I just need to get it to come together a little bit more than it is right now. And basically what I'm doing is the heat of my hands is kind of warming up that shortening a little bit, so it's making it come together a little bit more. All right, so we have our cookie sheet. The recipe says to break it off into like 1/4 of a cup size balls and roll them up and pat them into dough balls about 1/2 inch thickness. Now measuring is not my strong suit, so I'm going to say that's about 1/2 inch. The recipe says that we're supposed to be able to have about 12 of these. I'll flatten mine down a little bit more. Main thing I would say is just try to make them about the same size. That way they will cook evenly together. I'm giving them a little bit of distance from each other because I don't know if they're going to rise or spread or what they're going to do. Again, recipe I have never made before, so we're kind of doing this brand new together. And I try not to put too much stock into the recipe saying that you should have 12. I mean, you just make them the size that you want them to be and work with that. I'm trying to get them a little bit round. I mean, biscuits are usually round. These seem to remind me a little bit more of being like drop biscuits, so they're not like perfectly cut out. If you've had Church's biscuits before, you know they're not all nice and perfectly sized. Looks like I might get about 10 out of mine, which mine might be a little bit bigger than they should be. I'm not that exact in my baking. Might be why I have some goof ups every now and again. All right. No, looks like we are going to get our 12. This one's just going to be a little bit small. Okay. We're going to take some of our melted butter, set this down over here so everybody can see. And we're just going to lightly put some melted butter on top of our biscuits to start out with. That's going to give them a beautiful golden color. Again, we're preheating our oven at 450 degrees right now. We're going to cook these for about 10 to 12 minutes. We just want to get a nice golden brown on them. While the biscuits were in the oven cooking, I decided to go ahead and make my honey butter. And what that is 1/4 of a cup of regular butter. I used salted butter because I thought it would taste really good, but you can also use vegan butter if you wanted to make these vegan. And then I used 1/3 of a cup of honey, which again, if you were making these vegans, you would just omit the honey. And then what I did was I just warmed it up until it was everything was melted and set it off to cool. So I thought I'd bring it a little bit closer to show you. We got all of the biscuits off of the cookie sheet and we put them on this tray. Again, like I was saying, when I did the Red Lobster biscuits and I used an herb butter, I put my cooling rack on top of a platter so it would kind of catch all the excess butter and not make a mess of my countertop. And then I've just got my nice salted butter and my honey butter, my salted butter and my honey in my pan here that I'm just putting on top of these awesome biscuits. And we're gonna let them cool just a little bit and then we'll try one out and see how they taste. They're looking yummy already, I gotta tell you. So now it's time to taste test. So let's see. We're gonna take this little guy right here in the front. Oh, look at that. That is a wonderful little flaky biscuit right there. That's a wonderful flaky biscuit with some beautiful honey flavoring and butter on there. That is fantastic. Hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe and I will keep making wonderful bakes for you. See you next time.